All right. Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is the little lady running around little loops, Bethany McKinsey, because you have your little ultra.
I do have my little Loop Ultra.
Your
Yeah.
little, well, that would have been a good name, actually.
That is the name.
Is it called the Little Loop Ultra? Wow.
Yeah.
That
It is
was
a good name.
right. Call it that. Sorry. I'm working a lot,
It's
really a
okay.
lot. Anyway, today we have someone that we've known for a long time, and I'm going to say the first time that I saw her was actually when she raced against Bethany in
Yes,
Atlantic City.
2022. Yeah.
Dude, so Beth, I'm going to let you run through that, and you can introduce Michaela, even though I just said her name.
Yeah, well, the first time I met Kayla was the Deka Worlds 2022 when we raced each other in the Deka Fit relay. So, yeah, and you guys were on the podium.
Yeah, you guys were first, you and Heather, and then Sarah and I were second. So that was a ton
Mhm.
of fun.
My
Yeah.
my first take on that race, and is it Kayla? Kayla, what you got there? So we call you Kayla, Michaela, whatever you want.
Either one works. I think like professionally Michaela, but everyone calls me Kayla like locally. So
So I think of you as a power athlete, much akin to Heather, someone like that. And I remember watching you running with Bethany on that opening lap going, holy shit, she can move.
I was so nervous for that race because that's super terrifying to me as a, former lifter. It's a 500-meter run and everyone on that start line felt like a runner. So I was like, my coach after the first lap, I think he was like, okay, like pace yourself. It's a long race. Cause I was just so excited to be there. And also, start line jitters. I'd never had a live stream before that. I think it was the first year of the relay. I know back then there were no mile or strong relays, but
Yeah.
definitely is a longer run. And that was the first year I like ever ran a mile in my life type of thing. So
Well, I remember watching it, I was just like, shit, these two are going to be trouble.
I was very thankful Sarah took the 8 runs that I didn't have to touch.
So how did you get started in all this? Like, and let's go back. This is, you know, we have so many people come into the world of like hybrid racing and all this stuff, so many different ways. So how did you get involved? How did you get started and all? Like go back and let's start with your whole background, your fitness, how did it all started?
Yeah, so I am like a former weightlifter, heavyweight lifter. So I was almost 300 pounds in high school. Um, we in Florida we do like half Olympic, half powerlifting. So competing in clean and jerk and bench. And that was my background. So really, like you said, power athlete, strong, not overly fit. But then I went to college and weightlifting is not an NCAA sport. So I did it intramurally freshman year. I had some back issues. So I was kind of just doing like overall fitness anyways. And I graduated college in 2019. I was at a HIIT gym and my trainer then went to Get a Core Fitness that I train out of. And she's like, you should come, just try a DECA event. And I loved it because it's a very welcoming community and it kind of pushed me to that next level because at that point I was already down, I want to say like 70 or 80 pounds, something like that. So I mean I wasn't really running but I was still doing HIIT workouts and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, the next challenge. And there's some things that were not that bad right away, like the farmer's carry or the tank, but cumulatively, I mean, even the strong was tough. I think I was doing like just under a 20-minute strong then. So
What's your strong time now?
13:31 question mark.
So you were powerlifting and stuff like that. And actually, hell, why not? What are your lifts? What are your PRs? What do you bench? Come
Oh
on.
my God. I haven't
What do
maxed
you
out since I
bench,
was
bro?
17, being put on blast here. I squatted 385 back in the day. Pause bench was 225 and clean and jerk early didn't have the form. I did 165. So Probably could have done better if I had better form, but my bench and clean and jerk should not have been that far off. But yeah, that was my strength. And now, it's funny because now I almost don't trust myself on the strength stuff. I'm like comparatively, if you're coming from a running background, like, okay, maybe I can line up. But if anyone has a CrossFit background, like put me next to Heather on the bike, I'm going to be nervous. You know what I mean? Because I mean, she's also a power athlete, and I definitely don't have the strength I once did. So, and Heather's a really, really good athlete. So,
So did you find then that you carried the weight for your sport, or did you find, because I'm always curious too with like how much do people's bodies determine the sport they end up in, or is their body becoming it because of the sport that they're in? So like did you carry the weight because it helped you in your sport, or were you naturally bigger and then so it lended you to being a stronger athlete?
yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I was always big. I really can't remember a time I was ever small. I was born half a month early at almost 10 pounds, and I feel like I was always, overweight. But I was always strong. My dad was a personal trainer, and I remember going with him at 6 years old, and I was already like pressing 500 pounds. So, like, naturally, like, it made sense. I did a lot of sports growing up, intramurals, like Pee Wee leagues, Taekwondo, you name it, like for a few seasons. But shot put and weightlifting were my thing, mostly weightlifting. Just kind of, being stronger and bigger. I mean, I wasn't, running 5Ks then or anything, but I could fit into that sport. I think I was ranked like eighth in Florida my senior year in my weight class. My weight class was interesting. It was 199.1 and above. So it was unlimited. So there were girls I competed against who were 201, and there were girls who were who were 430. So it was like, well, we assume if you're this weight, you're probably, peaked of your muscle mass type of thing. It just kind of everyone who doesn't fit one of the other nine categories. So, but
That's
yeah,
really
definitely the chicken, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Definitely I was strong always, but I was overweight, not just, for my sport. So
I still think those weight categories make more sense than the indoor rowing ones.
the heavyweight females is what, like 135 or something?
Yeah, yeah, and men's is 165. I,
It's crazy. Oh my God, that's crazy. It really
so,
is.
so you got into Deka, you started going. Is it become to the point now where that's completely what you're tailored for? Because with all your lifting, it would have seemed like CrossFit might have been the spot you jumped to first because I mean, obviously it is a lot heavier.
Yes. So it's funny. I mean, I'm 5'11". So all of those, I don't do anything crazy. I don't walk on my hands. I don't know. CrossFit is such a short person's game. I hate to say it like that.
Yeah.
Um, but and it's all high skill, and I don't have that skill set. And my goal with DECA, like, really happened on accident. You get into it, you start training, you like the community, you like your team, but I really just wanted to stay functionally fit. So I like that part of DECA where it's like, hey, you can make it as competitive as you want, but also you can show up every day and put in work to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's really what it started as. And then, of course, that's what we all say. And then it turns into more. So, but
So let's hit a couple other things. So like you said, we went through, you came second at the fit in the relay in 2022. 2023, how did that world championship go for you?
So Sarah couldn't make it that year. That year I did in Dallas, I did um age group for a strong individual. I did elite teams mile and elite teams strong with Ryan. We came in second that year, co-ed elite. And then the mile, I think I came in fifth in the female teams. So it went well. The strong is obviously going to be my better event. And then no one, better to team up with than Courtney at the gym, who can smash that self bike for us and stuff like that. So yeah, that was age group was a little, I was ranked first going in, but I really say it was kind of a fake first. Chelsea Grant was in there with me. I mean, it was a lot of people that like you knew were going to kill a day of. Sarah Grippy, people who may not have had like their best qualifying time, but they just wanted to get on the board. And then I would have had to PR significantly just to make third. I mean, it was like crazy, like a lot of really elite athletes that, just kind of the luck of the draw for that race. So
Right. And then we went to this year. And this year, you decided I'm just gonna partner up with the Queen of Deka and win my title.
yeah, so that's really funny. Tara reached out to me, I want to say in April. We were going to do a fit, and I had a little health thing, so we had to move that. And then then Tara had her health thing. So, um, but it made sense, I think, for us to do a strong over fit anyways, because of two reasons. One is Thunder and Lightning is kind of subjective at this point. If you have two people who can kind of, what we saw with Bridget and Lexi this year, it's really, really tough. To do it that way. And she would have to take all the runs, Tara, because I mean, I'm just not, she's a true hybrid athlete and I'm really still that power athlete. So I really said, I was like, well, we're both power though. And for me to not have to row 500 meters at a time or assault bike the whole thing, like I can be that much more explosive for us. So we qualified the last qualifying weekend in North Carolina, and we missed the record by a second then. So we switched 6 of the 10 events for Worlds and really just trusted each other in the process because we didn't have, I mean, living several states apart, we didn't practice again from qualifying.
So when you say you switch 6 of the 10 events, explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, so when we qualified and we got a 10-11 together. Tara did the lunges. I did them at Worlds. We split the rower. Tara took the whole rower at Worlds. We split the box. I took the whole box at Worlds. So we switched a lot of things. The tank stayed the same. I took 1, 3, and 5. The it's a good question. Now I really am trying to think. The sit-up stayed the same. She took all the sit-ups both times. The skier stayed the same. I took 300 of the 500. And the farmers stayed the same. She took the whole farmers. So, but other stuff, I mean, we split the bike before, but I took a few more calories at Worlds than I did previously to give her a little bit of a break after farmers. So, really trusting each other. And I mean, some of it switched completely, like the row and the box and the lunges. So.
That was one of the best races of the weekend, just watching that one. I mean, I'll be honest, all the strong, the year before, the mile was my favorite, but this year the strong was so exciting to watch. It was.
I'm biased towards the strong, but I also think it like can really capture viewers' attention because it's so quick. Like you're not, watching the ultra for hours or, and I'm biased because I lean towards the strength side, but it's so quick and so fast and so furious.
So this year, they introduced Atlas. And when this was a whole process and we were helping out with this, you were one of the people I immediately thought of was this is somebody that's going to be salivating at this. And is that good? Is this something that's on the radar for you?
This is on the radar for me. I think Getit's going to host one hopefully in June TBD, but I know it's coming up. So that's something, I mean, I've gone through the motions. There's stuff I have to work on, like bar facing burpees. If you saw my strong this year, I went into Worlds 6 ahead on the burpees and I came in second place. So burpees are not my strongest. We realized at Worlds, well, at qualifiers, Tara and I, that the fastest way for us to do 20 burpees is for Tara to do all 20. So, yeah, so stuff like that, bear crawls. I mean, the other stuff is great. And some of that stuff I don't have to practice as hard coming from that, Olympic lifting background, stuff like the thrusters. Trying to think. The snatches, I think, were my favorite of all of it because the momentum. The overhead presses are actually a little bit heavy. Surprisingly, I was like, oh, 20 in a row is not a joke, So, yeah, definitely looking forward to doing it and just getting a time out there and then, scraping off it from there. So
I want to ask both of you guys because I don't think Beth and I have ever talked about this. So when Deka does Worlds, it's jammed. There's no more room for anything else, right? Like there really isn't. If they decide to keep going forward with Atlas and to move on, how do you make a championship out of this, or where do you have it lead to?
Yeah.
Like Beth, have you like do you got any idea first?
Well, I mean, I think we're extending Deka so far now because we have the Ultra and we have age group races for everything, and it's watering it down a fair bit, I feel like. So if you're gonna try to stack on more now, we're kind of spreading the athletes out too. So are you gonna have, if they have them at the same time, Atlas and the Strong, are you gonna dilute the Deck Strong then? Like we have to still be able to give people the opportunity to do both. And I mean, most people aren't gonna go, you don't really want to go and now you're doing 8 races when before like 6 was a lot, but no, you kind of want to do Atlas too. So I just, yeah, they should spread them out. Will people travel for an Atlas World Championship if you're going to call it a World Championship?
No.
um or just, champ, I don't know. Anyways, I think it's becoming too much in one weekend. I think already it's too much with what they have at with Deca, so I hope that they don't.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I really think that they could get away with doing an Ultra and an Atlas the same weekend. I mean, you do have your superstars who will want to do both, but as far as like your specialties, I don't know. I feel like those could be the furthest away you could get on the spectrum,
Yeah.
to where, and they're not like mainstream Deca, right? As far as like the original 3 events. Um, so I feel like it'd be really hard to do everything in a weekend. Even if you said, okay, I'm really a power athlete, I want to prioritize Atlas and the Strong and then do things as I can. And even if they are able to say, okay, I'll do the Ultra one day and then something another day, and then we'll go back to the fit the third day. Well, logistically, they'd have to set up the course. I mean, I guess they do that anyways every day, but it'd make more sense to have the fit kind of stay that way. And then how long can people be there for? Because these things really take a day now with, like you said, all those age groups and stuff.
Mhm.
So,
What I would like to see is I'd like to see. I mean, I'm totally agree. There's already so much in that one day, and like even when they throw it in the ruck now, like I'm facing the
Right.
situation.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm facing the situation for me where there's so many things that I would like to compete at, but there's no way because if I hit everything I want to do, I'd be in 6 championship races plus judge. I'm like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. And especially because some of them are teams, I can't I can't fatigue myself and cheat my partner out of giving, you know what I mean? So yeah. But what I'd like to see with Atlas, and this is just shit that was running around in my head, I'd like to see a standalone weekend or a day, right? I don't know, however many lanes, 5 lanes, where you pick the top 5 scores, right? We do top 5 scores in each age group plus elite, put them out there, but also have open wave where anybody can sign up. So that way you can keep enough numbers go through and just run it like that and just call it an Atlas Championship and not have it be quite as big a deal for a first one, but just have it be its own standalone thing and run from there. Maybe I don't mind your idea of putting it with the Ultra. The only problem with that is the Ultra is such a big setup because then you have to reset up the whole course, like you say. Whereas a standalone Atlas setup, you don't need that much room. You don't need a ton of equipment because it's all very cheap. And I mean, even if you were to go somewhere, you could probably rent most of it from a gym or source it out somewhere like that. So I mean, I'd love to see that, even if it was just like 5 lanes and then you ran different times and then an elite race and some open waves for people who are volunteering and fun and just set other times. I think it would be great. I think it'd be fun. And I think Bethany should do it.
Post it or
yeah, I'm seeing these times and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to touch the 11s or even 12s. You know what I mean? Like some of these female times already, I'm like, I'm going to do what I can, but I don't know. You guys are so agile. Bethany, I think you would kill it. I don't know. Have you done it yet? Do you have a time?
yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
Bethany,
Like,
Bethany was helping in the development.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this would be one event where weight classes could be a discussion too. Just saying, I would like that.
I think we should compete by height for Atlas because At least we have the machines in regular, Deka. But it's a long way to the ground, the thrusters. It goes back to the CrossFit, to the
Well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think weight classes make sense when we're talking about heavy. But I mean, they're not going to do that. So
So they
I
have.
would agree with, oh, sorry, Dave,
No,
cut
no,
you
go ahead.
off.
Go, okay, go.
I was going to say, I would agree with weight classes if we were only looking at strength stuff. But when you throw in burpees, you're going to weed out people like me.
yeah.
You throw in farmers, like you throw in jump ropes. Like I think there might be, and maybe not, but I mean, the heavier stuff could be beneficial for me, like the thrusters, the snatches, the overhead presses. But I think they did a pretty good job. Well,
Yeah.
kudos to you guys since you're part of development. Really putting it, functional fitness still, like as far as, not weeding out people who are not pure, strongman athletes.
And it is still high rep when you're looking at it. Like
Yeah.
20
Yes.
reps of something is still a high rep number. So it does still balance itself out that way.
I know. I'd rather us just like the last event, 400-pound deadlift. Can we do it or not? Just kidding.
Yeah.
So on that saying, here's another one for you for that one. We separate like regular decas by distance, right? You got your strong, your mile, and your fit, and that they're separated by distance. What if we had a third atlas and we separated them all by weight? So the third one's even heavier.
Ugh.
Yeah, see, you're saying now 'cause she's nodding her head. It's
I
like
love this. Sign me up. Can we take out the burpees though,
no,
please?
no, but I mean,
Especially bar facing.
this is the one I like. I've been toying on this, and I've been trying to set up to actually try it, and I'm trying to sell Yancey on it. But yeah, where basically everything is increased by about 40%.
Okay, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah, yeah,
I still just think we have too many decas right now.
yeah. I know. I just want this one for me.
Yeah. Just put on your ruck.
I tried that. That was really hard. Made a big difference, and it was only 30 pounds.
Couldn't imagine doing that. Like it just sitting on your back as you're walking already with the bear crawls with the dumbbells in your hand.
It
Oh,
was,
that was
And
it was the skipping that was the worst.
uh
Just like slamming in the back of your lower back, just every time. Yeah, the skipping was rough. The bear crawl was hard. Skipping was painful. You really got to have that adjusted well. Yeah. So this year, what are the plans?
plans. Well, I've qualified, I have my trifecta. I mean, I've done a fit before, but this is only my second one ever solo. I felt like I just had to do it. I mean, I don't really ever plan to compete in a solo at Worlds, especially because it's usually the first day. And well, it's actually always been the first event. The first year, the mile and strong were flipped, but the last 2 years it was fit, mile, then strong. So I always have to prioritize that third day.
Yeah.
And I know that. That's why I skipped first and second day this year. But probably, the strong stuff. I know Tara and I have been talking, and I know she's busy with all her races and Hyrox and Deka and everything, but definitely, still that power stuff. And then I don't know if it's, officially out, if we know when or where Worlds is, or, so we can, do you wanna say it out loud for us?
Oh, I honestly don't know.
we don't know.
I wish I did.
I mean, I've heard rumors. I don't know. I won't put anyone on blast here. So, I don't know, but,
Because I actually don't
making
know,
sure.
I'm fine to talk rumors because I actually have no idea. I'm
My
open.
guess, I don't know. I feel like Austin is on the table, no?
I've heard that. But My
Okay.
guess is actually back to Ocala.
Oh, I would love that. I mean, selfishly, I'm a 2.5 hour drive. Um, and
It
it's
was
amazing.
just such a good venue, and I know it seems silly, but the big screen was such a massive sell,
I love it. I think Ocala was the nicest venue we've had at Worlds of all 3 years.
hands down.
Yeah.
Way better.
And this sounds terrible because I know you guys actually have it cold up there, but I do not like the winter. And when I went to Atlantic City, just like not being able to warm up outside, like I would love if it stayed in the south.
I think
Very, selfish.
there are other reasons in Atlantic City not to warm up outside other than the cold.
Yeah.
Like the fact outside the parking lot looked like The Walking Dead. Like just it was a little frightening.
It wasn't their it was their off season for sure. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, so big time back to the strong.
yeah, I think the strong and Atlas, I mean, I think we're starting to see I like I'm going to be better at those events and we're starting to see people specialize. I mean, I like the fit. I actually think I prefer the mile and the fit over an individual strong. I like the runs. I'm just not a 17-minute 5K-er. I mean, I can run a 40-minute fit. Like that's not great in the grand scheme of it. My mile is high 21s right now. It's okay, you know. It's not it's okay for a power athlete. I mean, locally it's fun and I try to do 1 mile a year. Um, but I don't know. It goes back to the days too. If they said, hey, this year we're going to do it the opposite order and we're going to do strong mile fit, I think for people who are doing all three, that's kind of maybe a little bit mentally hard to swallow. Like, oh my God, my longest day is going to be the third day. Um, but for someone like me, that's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I can get that day over with, be super serious, kind of have fun with the rest of the weekend. But then I know, well, hey, like I'm not wearing, Bethany and Heather out that first day. I really want them to be tired going into the strong. So, because I know that they're gonna, do the fit and mile or relays together or other stuff. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I definitely would do more events at Worlds if I didn't feel like, hey, I'm gonna compromise, tyrannize the last event. I'm only gonna do one before. I wear out so easily. I'm, very quick power output, and then my legs are sore for a week. So I'm pretty careful about that. I just do not flush out lactic acid like, a lot of these, quote unquote real runners do. So,
All right. So I know you're not big about Hyrox, but there's a few things we want to talk about Hyrox, and you can weigh in this because this is kind of universal stuff,
okay.
not like super detailed. So this weekend was the Hyrox North American Open Championship, which is a lot to say, but basically an open, only open races in BC. And what we had was we had some of the elite racers, specifically Dylan Scott, Tara Jackson, Lauren Weeks, Alondra Greenlee. Some of the elite racers go and race open. And there's chatter back and forth as to if this is a good thing, not a good thing. Should they be able, as the rules sit, they're totally within their rights to do it. Should they be allowed to do so? Or should this open championship just be for open racers? And it almost kind of helps like for you to define what that open wave is about. Is that open wave for everybody? Is it a completely different race? Or is the open wave supposed to be just an introductory and not for everybody? So I don't know. You want to go first, or do you want Beth to go first?
You
Well,
go first
Bethany, to
because
go
I'm
first.
highly opinionated on this topic.
Oh my goodness, putting me on blast here. And I don't, like I said, I know Hyrox. I've done one. I did the Miami Beach one, which was really hard in the soft
You
sand.
did like the worst
Um,
one.
I know. Luckily, it was doubles, but for me, doubles and Hyrox is not easy because you
You
don't get
run
to
it
split the
anyway.
runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a lot of opinions on that piece of Hyrox, but we'll touch on that maybe later. But I don't know. Like in Deka at Worlds, if you do an elite race, you can't do age group of the same race.
Mhm.
Um, so it's interesting. Like I said, I'm pretty naive to the way Hyrox works. I see it, but I don't follow it. So I mean,
Yeah, so it's not
like
it's
at
not like
first glance, it's kind of like, do you really want your best to best to take away that, what would be age group top competition? I don't know. It's gonna, I
yeah,
mean,
so it's a
fair is
little
fair because they're great, but it's not if they're already in a different category.
yeah.
But that's very loosely because I don't know much about it. So,
All right, Beth, go for it.
Um, yeah, I mean, I this has been one of my pet peeves with Spartan and Deca since the beginning of time is the whole defining elite and age group because they're not that different of people. And I know we're talking about Dylan and Lauren here, who are two of the best, but what happens when you're getting into those people where sometimes they're elite 15, sometimes they're not? Last year they were, this year they're not. So where do they fall? So are you going to say once and always an elite 15, therefore you can never race an open or you can't which, and again, Hyrox is also different because open is not like the masses and the competitive field when it comes to Spartan and Deka. Spartan and Deka have done, in my opinion, they've done a massive disservice by defining these two groups of people as different people. And what it has done is it has diluted the elite side of Spartan racing. So, everyone chose to race age group because that's their likely possibility of podiums. But then the elite fields basically shrunk to nothing because the difference, though, and what I think Hyrox has done really well is they've made it such a big deal to call yourself an elite 15. No one's going to be an elite 15 and be like, no, I think I'm going to hang out back here and race my age group. Like, it's such a big deal to be on an elite 15 start line. And that was never the same with Spartan and Deka. Like, they don't get all of the glitz and the glamour that you get in the elite 15. So people will choose to race age group. You would never do that in Hyrox. So everyone is always like looking up towards those athletes. So it's such a privilege to be that. But when you start saying, well, if you're that good, you can't race open anymore. But then what happens like Alondra Greenlee, for example, she's not been in the Elite 15. So why would we ever say she can't race open right now? That doesn't make any sense. So it's like, how good are you saying people have to be before they can't race an open world championship anymore? Like, so it like, we're talking about girls who are, Maria Fessick or the Jade Skillen, where sometimes they're elite 15, sometimes they're not. So where is that line? It's too gray, in my opinion. And I think if you're going to start defining these groups here, I think you're opening a big can of worms. And I think keeping it open the way it is exactly how it should be. Anybody can race it. Because at the end of the day, also, Lauren Weeks, although she's the best in the sport right now, she's also an age group racer when she races open. So if I'm in her age group, which I'm just now not, thank goodness. But why would I not want to race the best? So if I come second or third to Lauren Weeks, well, she's in my age group. She's an age group athlete when she races the open. So like I get to stand on a podium with her. I think people complaining about that are people that care more about their position than racing the best in the sport and in the first place. So the way they're doing it elevates the sport. I think to define this is going to create is way too complicated and it's not cut and dry. So don't go there, and just what they're doing, I think, is the right way to do it.
So here's the thing. I think we do Kayla a bit of a disservice because she doesn't really know the ins and outs of how the system works. But when you race open, there's still age group in open. So you still have and then when you think about just what you said, Beth, with Lauren and stuff, and Lauren actually races age group at every Hyrox race that is not Elite 15. Because even when
But you
she
don't
races,
sign up for age group.
no,
It just
exactly. So
is.
yes. So what I'm saying is even in the pro races, it's the same system where she's racing age group, right?
Yes.
And just like everybody else. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And I think Kayla, this might be a good way for me to ask it to you. I do the regular Atlas, right? And whatever, and I'm probably going to do well in my age group. If there's a competition where they only have the foundations because that's the only weights there, should I be allowed to run in that race?
A local event or just to do it or
Yeah, just to do
something
it
you
or
hope?
championship. Yeah, just happens to be for that particular race, all they have is the foundational weights.
I mean, if you signed up and you're going to the event, I mean, you should be allowed to compete. But I almost feel like Bethany's saying, like, it's not differentiated enough in DECA. Like, people, like to Bethany's point, and I'll circle back, I promise, will sign up for something because they think they'll put him in age group and not an elite. I came in second last month. I guess it's still March. So last month, in Ocala in my age group in the fit. I could have been first in elite that day, right? Because I didn't know the competition. The fit's not my skill set. I should probably do age group. And it was just kind of I mean, that would never happen again, but it's just a fluke. You don't know what you're getting. You feel safe in your age group. You know, it's usually less competitive. But I honestly think, like, as far as qualifying, especially if you're talking about gym events for DECA, you should be able to do whatever. And then, during the season, and then have that kind of filtered out and set as you get into worlds. And it's definitely a little different for Hyrox because I know every event is a big event and it's a regional event. Um, but a local event for Deka, you're not, standing on a podium probably. You're not taking away anything from anyone, first of all. So that's a little different. Um, and then, I think there's hard rules that have to be set like only for the major events. Like I said, I don't know enough about Hyrox, and everything is kind of a major event. I mean, so many people are signing up for these, and all the CrossFitters are coming over, and so on and so forth. So definitely looking at that more. But then, like Bethany, like you were saying, if Alondra Green, we know she's great. We've seen her, in CrossFit type things. We've seen her in DECA. But like, how do you define that as like, oh, well, she's too good to be, in an age group because it is a new sport. So I do agree that like there's not a way to do that in Hyrox. If like just based on what we're saying here, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs like I do DECA. And DECA, I think you should be able to qualify at anything throughout the season. And then like those hard rules, come into play at Worlds. Like Tara shouldn't be allowed to run age group in anything, probably. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
For
at World,
me, yes, for me, I should be allowed to do age group in the fit because I'm not elite, and they're different events. So DECA's hairy in a sense that it's not always a huge deal to be elite. Like Bethany's saying, you post a picture on Instagram and you're first on the podium that day. Maybe you would have been 10th in elite. You know what I mean? But it looks better for, the glamour of it. And then, I mean, I think that DECA could honestly make it so it's a deterrent to run in your age group if you're good enough. They could waive fees, entrance fees for elite athletes.
Yeah.
I know they have like cash prizes. I think they start at 3,000 for the individual events. Like first place is 3,000. I think it's like second place is 2,000. They could
I
make
think
them
I think that's at
all.
Worlds. I think at regular deck it's like 1,750.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. At Worlds. But I think that at Worlds, they could make them all have like a small cash prize or at least a free race and waive entrance fees. Like at least like trying to, like if you're on the fence, like, okay, well, I didn't even know if I was going to do it, but I'm not going to pay 200 to enter and I'll get 200 even if I don't have a good day. So, it's, 400
And
in
like
the
what
plus
Hyrox
that
does
day.
too, where like they get their kit with their name on it. And like, so when you're posting your pictures, like, that's a different race. And like when the podiums are posted, like, that's different than the age group stuff. Like, and then it prevents all of these like podiums where people are like, DECA World Champ. Like, okay,
Right.
well, you're
Because
missing
I
the
think we even have the
qualification.
same batons and stuff, right? Everything's the
Well,
same,
and
no?
then this year too, they allowed all of the age groupers all held up the ram. They didn't get the ram, but they held them up. So like there was no defining difference then. So where is the incentive in DECA and
Right.
Spartan to race elite? Because I mean, nobody would ever turn down an opportunity to race the Elite 15 in Hyrox. It's that big, but that's not the case at all in DECA.
Yeah,
Here's
I actually got a roll down 2 years ago in Dallas to do the strong, and I was like, what, to come in last? Like, I mean, my age group was hard enough. I was super happy I didn't race elite.
Mhm.
But maybe I would feel differently if it was like, like these are, like you said, like the
You get
glamorous
your
people of the
shorts, your
sport.
sports bra, like the big to do of you coming 10th in the Elite 15 would be so cool, so people wouldn't turn that down.
here's
And that's where I think we need to look to Hyrox to see what they're doing because it's a big deal to race Elite in
here's
Hyrox. It's
here's
not
the
in DECA.
here's the problem. So wow, I got a lot of things. First off, Kayla, do you speak sign language?
Do I what?
You speak sign language. I just remember back, and then I just jumped in my head. 2022, you helped KK on the start of the line of the strong.
Oh, my sister's a sign language interpreter. I only know the alphabet,
There
and
you
not
go.
even
Okay,
well.
I don't know. I had to get that out before I forgot. So the other thing, and I think you guys are right about 90% of that. With DECA, why don't we completely do away in regular events and for everything except Worlds with the elite and age group thing? They got rid of the open category. Now I say get rid of the age group category, and everybody just signs up.
And
And
you run in a heat.
and for example, Kayla, in that case, you would have won at Ocala.
I actually wouldn't have if that was the case, which is weird. But there were girls in
Okay, so
other
you would
age
have, yeah,
groups
yeah.
that
Yeah.
would have beat me. I think I would have come in like third or fourth that day overall, but
Mhm.
we all did age group. So I actually like that idea of like pulling after you do your race, making it
Yeah,
totally consistent across the board. And these regionals, the way they're currently set up at DECA is you come in and out all day. Like you're not necessarily racing the person who's
no.
you're going against, who's in your age group anyways. So at
Right.
the end of the day, they'll determine. I mean, it does make a long day if you have a 10 a.m. heat and you're waiting to the end of the day. But I think as long as it's done podiums before teams, in case you're not staying for teams, I think that's fair game. I mean, what is it? 6 hours total, maybe? I mean, it's not a super long day. And that way it's like, oh, okay, because I'm over here thinking like, what is it like instead of worrying about my own race, I'm like, is the competition going to be diluted enough? Like, is Tara not coming? Is Lauren Weeks
Hmm.
not coming? Like, I'm looking to think who's coming to the race and if I should actually, you know, sign up for elite. And generally speaking, I should never sign up for elite in the fit. And that's why I didn't. It just so happened that Ocala was just there. It's kind of a destination place. I mean, it is not easy to fly to. If you fly to Orlando, usually I would guess, and then, you know, rent a car or, you know, it's a expensive Uber, but it's kind of a destination place. And Worlds was just there and the last regionals was just there. So I get why there wasn't as many people. And I think I'm trying to think, maybe only Bridget lives in Florida as far as the elites. So I get why, you know, and it's the beginning of the season, so on and so forth. I feel like Christmas goes to the end of February, but definitely like pull it out after, let people just think about their race.
But then
So
so you raise a good point though, because then this is what they say all the time. If you're elite athletes, you're an elite athlete in the strong. So then to their point, you should be racing elite, right? So why was it ever questioning you? So then this is how you identify yourself, right? So you're a world champ in the teams in the elite teams strong. So how dare you race age group?
gosh, everything is so
You were Beth.
controversial around here. I mean,
But this
okay,
is their
deck
point
is a
though,
weird
right?
thing
It's
though,
like
because
if you're
Hyrox is
elite, you're
Hyrox.
elite. Hmm.
Hyrox is similar. I mean, because, and I would love to see Hyrox where a relay team. I mean, you have to be good at everything in Hyrox all the time, no matter if you're doing doubles, relays, or individuals,
Yeah.
because you cannot split runs and you still have to touch really everything, right? So Hyrox is kind of a different game. You kind of know where people are because I would love to see in a Hyrox, okay, 4 people, you can have 2 station athletes each take 4 stations and 2 runners each take 4 runs. I'm game. Sign me up. I'll do the sled push. I'll do the sled pull. I'll do the skier. You know what I mean? I'll do anything except burpees. But you know, we don't have that in DECA. And I'm one of the weird ones who's really a specialized athlete. Not too many people are like me out there where it's like, oh, wow, you can do the assault bike in, you know, 30 seconds and change, but you can't be elite in everything. It's like, no, I'm barely elite in the solo strong. I mean, they're so agile and quick, you know? So DECA's weird because, I mean, look at Matt Stankiewicz and Dylan Scott's pairing for Dallas, that fit. It's like, okay, like, yeah, he's a former NFL player, but I mean, he's a big dude out there and he's not going to have the same 5K time. So because DECA, and the reason I follow DECA so closely and, you know, am a part of DECA and, you know, not there in Hyrox is because I can use my specialties. I mean, Tara really only teamed up with me for the tank, bike, and ski. Everything else, she could have chosen anyone, and she could choose anyone. So, I mean, it's a weird sport in that sense. And if you're a really, really good runner, an Olympic level runner, and you have a really, really strong station athlete, you see that thunder and lightning. It's getting harder because people are getting so good at everything.
Hmm.
But I know like you and I are on opposite sides of that. But hey, we make a good team. If you ever, no, just
That would be a good team. Hopefully Heather's not watching.
I
Yeah,
know, Heather.
I'm
Just
too loyal.
kidding.
I'm too loyal. But yeah, no, DECA is different in that sense, in that, like, obviously, like the strong and the fit are very different sports. But I'm just playing devil's advocate for people that, they try to pigeonhole these people as elite athletes. And it's like we're not always elite every day and all of the things, you know? So it's like it's too gray. So you can't either it's just we just can't say elite athletes can't race in these race. Like, well, define
And
like
I
if
get like there's like six categories, right? There's the teams of each and the solo of each. And I get like being in that, like if I raced with Tara in the strong, I should not go do either a female or a co-ed team that day in age group for the Deka strong team specifically. I get that. But I do think it becomes gray. Like if I was a really, really bad runner and couldn't run at all, well, I should really still be allowed to do age group in the fit teams, right? Because that 500 meters twice could really knock people down. I mean, I granted, if you have the power, you can just suffer through it. And that's, what I've done and other people who like Matt. But
but
it's
it's
even
still
more gray than
so
Hyrox.
relative. Like when you say I'm really not a great runner, but like that's still super relative.
Long distance, but you're right. Like I can do the 500 meters. I don't know. I probably have done it in like 150 or something. Like, I mean, not consistently. I'm not doing that for 10 times that day.
Mhm.
Um, but like, yeah,
It's
I
just
mean,
hard
it's
to
really
draw
gray.
that line, right?
Like
To
you should
say,
be allowed to do age group strong, I think, just because you did fit teams elite.
right. And I'm old now, so I
Whatever.
well, and that's where I'm getting to that point too, where it does make more sense for me, obviously. I mean, I didn't qualify in the elite strong, but like yeah, like age group does make more sense for me. And then, sometimes I might be elite in the fit, sometimes I should probably just race age group. Like, so it's like, are people going to be mad if I decide to race age group in the fit, like because I have been elite, but like I'm also getting older.
At some point they have to I mean, in 20 years from now, I hope they don't say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like there
Beth, you're
can't be
60,
like
you're racing elite.
Yeah.
hey, I'm telling you, there's some people who may be able to pull it off. Think about like John House and honestly, like
Amy
Joe
Bella
Rivera and really
Rockworth,
anyone
she
from
ever comes out and
getting like,
rocks a deca fit.
my goodness, it's crazy.
So actually,
Um,
I was going to go to another Hyrox question, but I'm going to ask you another Deca question since we're here anyway. And Beth and I have gone this before, but I'd be interested in your take. So if you qualify, let's say, and we'll use Bethany as an example. Bethany qualifies 13th overall for the fit at Worlds. Should she be allowed to race age group if she decides she wants to at Worlds?
so this is the thing, and that's how it's historically always been. There's no reason why, if I was Bethany, I'd really right now want to race in the elite if I was 13th. Well, right now, I think last year, I could be wrong, it was just one heat. But in Dallas, it was two heats. So now you're really not getting that much live stream, anyways, right? Because you're 13th. You're kind of going into that knowing, okay, like I'm probably not going to podium. I could have a really good day and everyone else could have a really bad day, but you're not fourth or fifth. You're 13th, right? We're talking about I mean, there's no reason to. I mean, allowed is a weird word because I feel like you're borderline and it's that gray area like we talked about. I mean, I sure as heck would be like, okay, then I'm just not going to compete in it. You know what I mean? So I feel like you'd almost have to not like piss off the athletes. I don't know. Um, I mean, I was kind of there in, the Deca Strong a few years ago, and I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm getting a roll down to be top 20. Like, I think I was like 32nd or something like that. I don't know. Don't
Oh
quote me on
yeah,
it.
to me, a roll down is a completely different thing. A roll down is a completely different thing. I'm of the opinion that I think if you legit qualify for the top 15, you should run elite because then it does feel a little bit like sandbagging to me, right? But now the other side of it, I think is, and Beth was hitting at this earlier, is Deca needs to do a way better job of making, let's just say the 15th because we used 15, the 15th person in elite feeling that to qualifies for 15th elite in the world, feeling way more special than the person who wins age group. And it might just take a bit of swag, maybe a different medal, maybe something just I don't think it has to be super expensive, but something that makes that spot more valuable than an age group podium. So I think it's on them to increase the
I think
value.
they could waive the elite fees, like
I would be down with
across the board. Does Hyrox still do that? I don't know.
that. I
That's
don't think so, but I think
I
if
don't think
you
the Elite 15 would pay for the race.
I don't know if they do or not, but I know that even if they do, they're guaranteed money throughout the Elite 15, so they're still going to come out ahead one way or the other.
Yeah. And all the swag.
And all the swag, lots of swag. You get lots. Hyrox does really good with swag. Now the problem with Deka where they struggle with this is Hyrox has one Elite 15. Now they're having more because they're doing the doubles. But Deka has Elite 15 strong, Elite 15 strong men's, Elite 15 strong women, like women's like they have then they have the teams and they have three different divisions at length. And then like there's so many different levels, and that's why it's much harder for them to do that. But I think to make it simpler and just like a little bit of different swag, a little bit of, just something, even if it's some kind of shirt that just delineates like you were elite. A shirt with your name on it would be fantastic. Something along that lines.
I think they have to allow it though. I mean, because like I said, like I just wouldn't do it. I mean, I have to weigh that option often because I just turned 28 last week. So I'm in the place where, especially teams, like a lot of that elite field is in the teams. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, do I think they signed up as a team and age group or elite? Which one should I race? And it goes back to the point of like, I almost wish that we just pulled it out at the end. And I know that's complicated in some ways, but even if we make elite a big deal, it really would have to be a big deal like Hyrox. And that's many steps away, in my opinion. I mean, to waive fees, to make cash prizes maybe higher, to have full live stream, not just for the top, two or three or four teams. I mean, I almost think that it's easier to pull that out at the end. And it's weird because you want to feel like you qualified, at the highest level if you're going in there as someone like a Tara, but it does make it weird where I'm thinking more about like, okay, Bethany and Heather, they're probably in, Sarah and I's age group if we run the fit together. Do I think they signed up as elite? Probably. Okay. Well, like trying to think of our rankings because I do that and I weigh it out. In 2022, it was way different just being so new. And now it's not. And back then it was only elite for the teams. And in Dallas, even though we had the strong in the mile, it was only elite in the teams. So at least it was a little bit less like configuration because now you're thinking, okay, well, how old's Bethany? How old's Heather? Are they, I mean, this is like how my brain's working. I'm like, does it even make sense? Like, okay, well, we're probably going to be seventh in elite. Well, maybe we'll be fifth. They do it age group. So like, it becomes more about strategy in that sense and a little bit than it does like actually like athletic performance. And that's tough because I want it to be like whoever's the best on the day is, gonna go where they need to go. So I don't know.
I got one more question about Hyrox, and then we'll.
Oh God.
No, this is something you can weigh in because this is very simple. It's not even distinctly Hyrox. Well, anyway. Hyrox is going away from their carpet. They're introducing new turf for the sled push and pull. It's put on by Center, the same company that is making the sleds and all the other equipment. So the premise is now gyms can buy the exact same turf that will be used at the events for their gyms, so people will know exactly. They can use the exact same equipment, so they get to know it. They are putting it out and unveiling it at Worlds. How do we feel about that?
I have opinions about stuff like that in general and not just Hyrox specific. I mean, in one way, it's like if every event's the same turf and every competitor has to use it, great. I love consistency. I think we struggle with that sometimes across the board. But I hate last minute surprises, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I mean, I'm sure we could, relate this to Deka too, but I think there has to be, and like I said, I don't know much about Hyrox or if this turf was, at one of the events, maybe and not the other.
It's never been used at
never been rolled out. I mean, technically, everyone's on the same playing field. But I don't know. I really love rewarding athletes with what they know going into a championship event with what they trained on. But granted, it's turf, and I don't know how many of them are actually training with that at, wherever they train, at a local gym or on their own or whatever. So that might be a little different because it's not a piece of equipment. Like, it's not like they're saying, okay, well, all of a sudden, Like we're going to
Different
change the
tank.
sandbag lunges to be a ram. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't know, Bethany, I'll leave this one to you.
Well, I mean, I can say from experience that I think the sleds move faster, just based on doing warm-ups and how they felt in the race, which this will affect the race, I do believe, because I think the sleds, especially in Hyrox, are the one thing that's hardest to control across the board, and it can change the race significantly. You know, we've seen races where someone, for whatever reason, gets a bad lane. And I don't even understand how that happens, but you know, we saw it last year with Lauren Weeks at Worlds, um and it does change the race because these races, like a 20-second gap, which is very easy to create in a sled push or a sled pull situation, can disconnect a runner from the field, and that changes so much. And I think it will also play into um if the sleds are moving better on the turf, we're favoring a different athlete too. So it's becoming even more geared towards your lighter, faster athletes. So I think putting this at Worlds is just, it's the wrong move. Start next season with it. And then the season is what it is with the turf. I don't understand bringing it out at Worlds. Just like with, again, like we said with Deka with the tanks, why are we bringing them out at Worlds? And then same thing, they did affect a lot of things with world records and stuff. So yeah, I think they should just start the next season with it. But it is going to have an effect at Worlds, one way or the other.
I like that it's consistent now. Like I said, I'm just chiming in here kind of blindly, so don't come for me, people. But you know, Worlds is always the wrong, like a big event is not. I'm so, like I love consistency. And we saw in Dallas, just to relate this back to Deca, um, we saw the new tanks then. And whether people like them better or don't like them as much, that's subjective. But like for me and other people I know who did co-ed events, and granted, I know it's different now, but back then it was a 6 to an 8 actually on that tank. It wasn't the 7 to 8 that year. And well, I had a strategy with Ryan then of like, who's going to switch it at what time, type of thing. And now, well, it's only one lever, but it's different because we don't each grab a, like, it's just those last minute things. They seem so simple, but they're not when you're seconds away from people, especially in the shorter events, to be biased towards Deca. But it's, I don't love introducing. I mean, things are going to change. Sponsorships are going to change. People who are, brands that are supporting Hyrox and Deca are going to change, and that's fine. Like stuff happens, stuff has to be adjusted. We see opportunity, year after year. But I think that really needs to be like a, after whatever happened this year is going to stay the same through the end, and then we'll come to a review and change things. So I'm with you. Anything at Worlds, whether it's easier or better, I don't know. I love consistency so much, and if it's great, the turf thing, but I don't know. Like Worlds is tough to introduce it.
So I'm gonna do this really delicately. Introducing something at Worlds is stupid.
Say it again. Didn't hear
Introducing
you.
something at Worlds is stupid. It just is. So we think in both companies have done it. Deca did it with the tanks, there was issue. Hyrox did it with the wall ball counters, massive issues. So you like they say they've tested. Oh, and Beth, I will go back to one thing. So apparently, like the turf we've been using in the warm-up areas, which I agree with you is massively faster. That turf was not made by Center. So this stuff theoretically could be different.
Okay.
Theoretically, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it can be. My experience is turf moves faster no matter what turf it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, just to play devil's advocate and to give them the benefit of the doubt, it could be different. Let's say it's exactly the same and it doesn't affect times whatsoever. It's still a dumb time to put it out because you have not ironed the kinks out. You don't know for sure how it's going to stand up to an entire day. You
And
don't,
nobody does.
nobody.
So
So
it's like a huge experiment at a world championship.
introduce it at the like, I don't know, the Berlin and beginning of the year first event where
Mm.
we can test it. and do it for a day and see how it goes. And then if it works well there, try it at a major, and then we do it there and it works well, then you introduce it to Worlds. You bring it from the bottom up, not from the top down. And I mean, this is something that Deka has actually learned from because if you look this year, they did introduce an adaptation to the tanks, and they brought it out at the first event. So whether we like it or not, it's not coming out at Worlds. There's time to at least see it. And yeah, that's another story, whether you like that or not. We can have a chat about that another time. But but yeah, so I just think new turf, great idea. Introducing at Worlds, absolutely fucking stupid. And I just yeah, but I hope it works out. I hope it's great.
I
I
mean,
just
I hope that the sleds move way faster.
See, I'm over here like if I was in that heat, I'd be
And
really
you would be
mad knowing that's
mad.
my
Yeah.
extreme, you
let's
know?
throw another 3 plates on that bad boy.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because at Worlds in Dallas and DECA 2023 World Championships, I remember going, oh, the 6, I mean, the 7 is fine, but I'm like, oh, the 6 is really light. This is not good. Like,
It's
I can't make up speed
easier.
here. Like,
Yeah.
I need the bike and tank.
Mm.
It was definitely. I remember Heather like running with it, like full sprinting with this thing. I'm like, oh god.
And like the judges went over to see if the resistance was on it at all.
It is kind of hard to tell
Yeah,
where
I
it
mean,
is.
it's slightly
Like, I
off.
always push it down and then go one up because it's like hard to read or like
Yeah.
it's not always like, I don't know.
Even when Beth and I raced in Atlantic City, and then they brought that out, that tank, I remember just in the strong like, and it felt different from when I had raced earlier in the fit.
Yeah.
I like pulling it. I was holy shit, this thing is flying. Like, because
Mm.
I was wondering if we screwed up the settings at that time too, because we were doing the row and go thing,
Yeah.
which I still think should be legal. Was a great move.
Oh, I love it. I'm so much better at the push than the pull.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yep, yep. But anyway, all right. I think that's good for tonight. Um, Beth, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, thanks so much, Kayla, for joining us and chiming in on all of our discussions, hybrid racing. But yeah, it's been really awesome getting to know you also and racing with you over the last couple of years. So all the best with your season this year. And yeah, crush that strong.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Been good racing with you and good to talk to you, not just in the heat of the moment and on the start line. So thanks so much for having me on.
Take care, everyone.